Salutations, sleuths. I'm Gina. I'm Maria.
And we are
Fortuitous. Boom!
Not very cute, not very demure.
no,
Not mindful.
not at all. I swear she's damaged. Our dog is damaged from that.
Just like now traumatized by deer.
Yes. Yeah. She also does not like Halloween decorations either. Like the blow up stuff she doesn't mind, but like the scary stuff that people put up in their yard that look like Michael Myers or whomever, that like taller than life size, but not like the big inflatables. She does not
scare
like,
her.
Oh, she will growl. The hair will stick up on the back of her.
So you and Polly both don't like Halloween stuff.
She's just like her mama.
I saw a thing where I can't remember if it's one way or the other, but it's either like you adopt personality traits of your pets or your cat, or they adopt personality traits of you. I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, I would 1000% agree with that.
I think I've picked up habits of my cats and vice versa.
Yes.
100%.
My toy Yorkie was totally like me.
Really?
Totally like me, yes.
Isn't it interesting how...
And I also had
into
him from like puppy.
Baby.
He was half a pound whenever I got him. He fit in like a plastic cup, that yay size.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little guy.
That's because Ozzy, we got her when she was teeny tiny also. But she's turned into a terror. Like, she's a demon. So I don't know where she gets that from. She's very bipolar, schizophrenic.
Does she ever go out and like roam the streets in the city here? Maybe she gets it from that.
Other people.
Yeah. Or other cats, feral animals that are out.
Yeah. She was just very sassy when we like first went to go pick out cats.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I kind of liked about her, aside from being a black cat.
Yeah.
She's also just very sassy.
Yeah.
So... yeah, we just got her. So I think she's just always been like that. But I think there's nature or nurture for pets also.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. Yadi was the runt. Whenever I went to go get him, I met the woman. She was a breeder, but we met like in a Walmart parking lot halfway between. This is when I lived in Illinois, so halfway between our small towns.
Yeah.
And he was the cutest. That's why I picked him. And when I picked him up, she had just fed them and they didn't have teeth yet. So she had to like water down all the food. So he had like crusted mashed food all over his face. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't clean him. I like didn't even notice that he was that bad. And I'm like, don't worry about it. He's perfect just the way he is. And he was a hot mess every single day after that, his entire life.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed at all. He was exactly who he was from day one.
Nice. Love that.
Oh, gosh.
Very cute. But today we are talking about running.
Yeah.
So before we lose people, yes, it is about running, but this is also applicable to, I think, other workouts. So if you don't run, but if you work out, I think you could also relate. And then these, I feel like, can translate to everyday life also. Because Emily and I, we're both runners, so we'll talk a little bit about our experience, but obtaining that experience, we've also learned some lessons throughout the way, which have also at least translated in my everyday life. Mm-hmm. Like I can use those same habits and skills and mental fortitude in my personal life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And like for me, like I have not been able to find any other workout that is as close or similar to running. Like for me, running is like the workout. If I couldn't do it, then I would be depressed.
Yeah.
There's no other workout that gives me the same mental benefits, which is a big thing, the mental aspect of it. No other workout that for me is as challenging. Like if I have energy to burn off, like if I go lift, that's not gonna do it for me. I could go swim, that would help, but like running is like the one for me. Mm-hmm. And I get that, like that's not for everyone.
Right.
Like for some people it's boxing, they have to hit something. For some people it is swimming because they like tune out with the water. But for me, it's like running. And it's almost like running is very therapeutic.
Yes. Very therapeutic. Whether you're by yourself or with a group of people, I think either way. Because you're either like, if you're by yourself, you're with your thoughts and
yes,
in nature, in like a beautiful subdivision, you're looking at, you know, landscaping on houses. That's what I always did to buy the time. But like you're alone with your thoughts. Or if you're with a group of people, then they literally become your therapist for however many miles you are on the road with them.
Yeah, so you're either your own therapist,
Yes.
or you're chatting, hanging out, and socializing with friends.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't like being by themselves with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, at some point you gotta be, because at some point you're gonna be alone
Right.
with your thoughts.
Right.
And you have to like work through whatever it is that you're not liking.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point too. And I, a lot of my emotions come out in tears, like happy, sad, angry, frustration. So like there were plenty of times where I would be on runs by myself with my thoughts, crying, running and crying. Just,
Yeah.
like, don't worry about me, guys. I'm fine. Swear I'm fine. You
People
know.
probably thought that you were just in so much pain, and it was like,
Exactly.
we're not gonna touch that. Like, just let her be.
She's fine. Yeah, she's fine. She's still upright.
Well, for me, running has helped like regulate my emotions. Because what got me into running was like I've always played sports, and I would run just for those sports. That was the sole purpose, was just to increase my endurance or stamina for that sport. But then there was one day I remember in high school where my brother and sister pissed me off to no other. Like I was just so mad. Like I was gonna like lose my shit. I like snapped. And I didn't know what to do with that like pent up ball of energy. And my instinct was to just go. Not get in a car, but to just like go. And for me, like running is like the most liberating and most like primitive form of like freedom. Because you can just like go whenever, wherever, anytime, and literally just go until like you're exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I laced up and I went for a run, and immediately like I could feel all the endorphins, and I could like feel, you know, I started feeling better immediately. And I just went for like the longest that I'd ever gone at that point. And I like went out of my neighborhood, so I'm venturing out. I go to Castlewood, so I'm in nature, reconnecting with nature, and you've got, you know, it's just you and the trees and the ground and the trail. And I remember just feeling so much better afterwards. And that for me was like oh my gosh, like I love that.
Yeah.
And so to this
the immediate
day,
runner's high.
Oh yeah. And to this day, like I will still like chase that, and I still run for stress relief or anger or anything like that. It's like my form of release.
Yeah.
There's been times where it's been like 10 o'clock at night and I'm pissed off, and I go and I do like sprints at the track, like just to get it out.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine like not having that. And then I think there's a lot of people that really hate running, and I think they hate it because one, they're either like running incorrectly, because I think form will make or break running.
Yes, it will.
Two, I don't think people give it enough time. Like, yeah, it sucks at the beginning because you're bad at it. You're out of shape.
Right.
So it's gonna suck.
Yes.
Until it doesn't.
Right.
So I don't think people like push past that sucky, shitty phase.
Yeah.
And then to where like they can experience that runner's high.
That's where the good shit comes from.
Right. You just have to just give it time.
Yes.
Don't give up too quickly.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you've been at it for a while and it still sucks, then change the form, change the shoes, like do something. Or, I mean, people, they do get to that part and they do experience the runner's high and it doesn't do anything for them, then all right, then it's not for you.
Right.
But I'm a huge proponent of running and the runner's high.
Yes.
And I was like trying to look at like some benefits. I mean, 'cause obviously, besides like the obvious ones of like physical health, mental health, all of that. And in this article, which is a Hopkins Medicine article,
Okay.
so you know it's legit, is talking about like that runner's high and what like actually happens. So it says like when you start your run, your body goes through this transition, and you know the beginning of a run is always sucky because your heart rate like accelerates immediately, you're out of breath, but the heart is pumping to like get more oxygen to your blood, to your muscles and your brain. But then once you hit like that stride, once you get past that, then your body will release the endorphins. And then we call them runner's high. But there's surveys that have revealed that the runner's high to be pretty rare.
Really?
which I thought was interesting because a lot of people talk about a runner's
Yeah.
high. So then I'm wondering, like, are people actually experiencing
Right.
it or not?
Yeah.
For it to be rare. And then it's...
How do they, what sort of research did they do to
determine that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's got to be something with the brain, right?
Either with the brain or I guess like interviewing and asking people.
Okay.
But like for me, it's like, okay, if you're running, but you never experienced that high, like why are you still running?
Yeah.
Because that is like a form of like torture or punishment.
Right.
Like if you don't like it.
I can get like trying to go for a certain, like, okay, maybe I don't get it in month 1, but I'm going to do it for a couple more months to see if I get that runner's high. But then there's got to be a point where if you don't get it, to your
done.
point, why are you still doing that?
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Because
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it said like a lot of distance runners will just feel drained or even nauseated at the end of a long run and not blissful.
I've definitely had those times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it happens. You don't get a runner's high every single run. If that's what you're expecting, like,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna get disappointed because it's not every time. But at least, like, I would say majority of the runs, I at least feel better.
Right. Well, always that sense of accomplishment. Even if you do however long you're going out and you come home and like everything aches and you're on the couch for the rest of the day, like still the accomplishment of I went out and ran X amount of miles.
Right.
That's still something, even if you don't get that true like runner's high.
Right.
Or maybe that is a form of that too.
Right, and that's where I'm like, okay, what is the true definition of runner's
Right.
high? Because I guess like there's been times where like during the run, I feel like I could like soar or fly. That's the runner's high.
Yes.
Then I would say, okay, that is rare. But every run, like I'm running for like some sort of purpose, whether it's to clear my head, to which then I usually accomplish it, or if I need to focus on something, if there's a problem or a task and I really need to think about it. Like if you go for a run, like your brain is like active.
Right.
So you can think about it more clearly and better than if you were just sit there with the problem. So I'll go like if I need to practice interview questions or rehearse my speech for my sister's
Yes.
wedding, stuff like that. And then I think you like remember it better, retain it better
Yeah.
because you were thinking about it while everything is churning.
Right.
Or, I just run either from the mental aspect or from the emotional aspect. It's been a really shitty day at work and I need to just go, not think about anything and just run.
Yeah.
Very seldom do I go running when I'm sad though.
Okay.
I think I've done it, but I don't know if it is as beneficial as if I were like angry.
Right. Well, it depends on what made that sadness come on too, because some sadness can cause your whole body to be weak,
shut
mentally
down,
weak,
yes.
emotionally. Yeah. And then like trying to go out and run probably isn't the best thing to do for your body in that time anyways.
That's true. There's a difference between like kind of depressed, then you go out and then that does kind of pick up the spirits, whether it's running or working out. There was one time I was going on a walk and I saw a dead cat and it ruined me for the rest of the day.
Oh,
I was not running. I was not doing anything the rest
Yeah.
of the day. So yeah, I wouldn't do that. Extreme example, but so back to the endorphins. It says that the endorphins help prevent the muscles from feeling pain, and then that helps contribute to the euphoric feeling, the mood changes, all of that. And then here's the post-run feeling. It says that it's due to the endocannabinoids.
okay.
Some science
Sounds good.
word. It's a biochemical substance similar to cannabis,
Okay.
but it's naturally produced by the body. So that very relaxed feeling that you feel afterwards.
That tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Because like for me, one of my favorite things is like Saturday doing the long run, and then you like do the long run. You feel accomplished. You've gone through your either physical, mental aspect of it, the emotions, and then afterwards, just so relaxed, and then I
Yeah.
just chill the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I could never get into drugs because I would 100% be a drug addict. I would be.
I say that about myself all the time. Yes. Yeah. Except for weed, but other than that, nothing else. But that shit's legal, so it's fine.
Exceptions for everything. But no, I have a very addictive personality. And so
I say the same thing about myself. Brian would say that I just don't have willpower, though. It's not that I have addictive personality, that I don't have willpower.
I don't like that. It's addictive personality because I do have willpower. Running is a passion. I'm, addicted to probably the high and then the relaxing afterwards.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting about the post feeling. And then it goes on to talk about some of like the long-term benefits of exercise or running, where, it improves your memory and your focus. It helps with multitasking or task switching. And then it elevates the mood. Like I said, I think you can do that like with other workouts and not just running.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. I have been lately, probably like the last year, more like strength training and lifting as opposed to running as much. And I do miss it. And it's hard to get back. It has been harder the older I get to like get back into it. My body isn't as receptive to it as when I was younger. And like you had said earlier, I'm like one of those people where I've run a ton of half marathons and full marathons and like to go out and struggle to run 3 miles. Like it sucks.
That would be sad.
That would be depressing, right?
Yeah.
It is. And that's like where I am right now with it. And like, I don't let it get me down too much, but I also am not like jumping up and down as much to say, oh, I'm going to go out and try to run today because of, not being as successful with it. But I mean, that doesn't mean that it wasn't a huge passion of mine for a lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of years.
And which brings up a point that I wanted to make, was that a lot of people like really hate or shit on running because they're like, oh, you're going to hurt your knees or you're going to hurt your joints. And it's like, you can do that with anything. You can
sure
do that with playing video games. You can do that with whatever. And so I was looking into it, and actually they did this study on, it was close to 700 marathon runners, 675 marathon runners. And they found that it actually improved their knee and back health. So like with anything, obviously balance is key, moderation is key.
Right.
If you're going out every single day, hard pavement, you're going to ruin your knees. But if you're smart about it, you can actually improve your joints.
Right.
And this study showed that these 675 marathon runners had lower arthritis rate than other people who weren't runners. Yes. That the runners' knees and backs were more positively affected. And then the more that you run, the lower your odds of back, knee, joint problems as you age, because you keep those muscles around the joints strong.
Right. That I agree with 110%. I have had a bad back for a very young age. And when I first started running, I actually missed my second half marathon that I had signed up for because I had a back injury. And a lot of that was because I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't doing like my chiropractic adjustments, which was part of what my recovery was after I had hurt my back, whenever I was younger. Wearing proper shoes, making sure that my form was right. And once I started doing that, besides like some minor aches and pains here and there, I never had a major injury or any other back problem or knee problem that prevented me from running. And I ran 39 half marathons and 3 full marathons and only missed 1 from an injury. And that was literally when I first started.
Yeah, which brings me to like one of the lessons that like I learned was that like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Like if you're smart about it, then you can do all the running and everything like that. If you invest in the proper shoes and equipment, if you're smart about your recovery, if you're eating the right foods, then you can do it pretty injury-free.
Yep.
So speaking of experiences, I want to get to yours because I really liked yours. Because weren't you trying to do a half marathon in every state?
Yes.
So how many states did you get to?
So I've got 20.
Nice.
So far. So every drivable state around Illinois, Missouri.
All the Midwest.
Covered. I have California and Florida because I did Disney World and Disneyland
Okay.
races. And they had like they have challenges for all their races, but if you do one in California and one in Florida in the same calendar year, you get a bonus coast to coast medal for doing
neat.
one on each coast in the same calendar year. So of course I had to knock that out. And then a couple other states just from like that I would work into, either vacations before or after a vacation, or like
after.
Hey, well, no, I lied. Before.
I was going to say, there's no way I could do it after vacation.
Brian and I ran the Rock and Roll Half Marathon in Seattle, Washington on a Saturday or a Sunday. And then the following day got on a ship for a 7-day Alaskan cruise.
Nice.
So what was great about that was it was an open bar, so we had plenty of libations to help like recover.
Yeah.
Because obviously we were really sore from that, but so that was one that we did before. But all of the ones that like were traveling races were like, we would go up on a Saturday morning, we would go out for dinner and have a couple drinks, get up and run the race on Sunday, drive home and work on Monday. Like they were pretty quick. Just like, let's cross the box off, or check the box rather for this state and be on our way home. But like the memories and the
different sites.
Oh my God. Well, and we would always go for, we first were trying to go to do like all the rock and rolls, for example, just to get like the experience of doing those in different cities. And then it wasn't consistent with every city that we wanted to go to having a race at the time frame that was available. So then we just started going to like, show me all the races in Iowa for the month of September or what have you.
Yeah.
We would just find one that worked on a weekend that we were available to go. And then me and whichever group of girls that I ran with at the time wanted to go would go. So sometimes we would go to like really small races. Sometimes they would be really big. Like it was always an adventure because we never knew what we were getting ourselves into, except we knew we were running that race, getting the medal and checking off that state.
So of those 20 that you went to, do you have a favorite state or a favorite half?
Oh, I would probably the Disney races.
Really?
They Disney they do everything to like
Extra,
the tip top,
max.
very extra. So I did the Disney Princess Half Marathon, which they do in February. So it's not limited to all women, but the first place runner or like the first place winner has to be a woman. So like the first woman that, whether a man, even if the man crosses first, like whatever woman crosses the finish line first is the winner of that race, because it's the Princess Half Marathon. And like people dress up, wear like a tutu and dress up as princess and the whole Disney bit. But so the race starts at like 5:45 in the morning.
Jesus.
Because they have to open the parks, right? They're not going to lose the business.
Of course not.
Parks. Like, no. So
can't have that.
All the resorts that are on property had free transportation. So the transportation buses would pick you up at like 3:30 in the morning. Now, mind you, that's East Coast, which is an hour ahead of where we are. So there would be plenty of times in the 4 years that I would run that race where I would have friends back home who were still partying from
while
the night
you're getting
before,
up for a race.
while I was getting up to run a half marathon. So they would like bus us to the site, and then the fairy godmother would start every corral with their bibbity bobbity boo and fireworks before every corral start. And then along the race, they would have characters out that you could stop and take your picture with. Okay. So like the Disney races for me were never a time to PR because I stopped.
That's just a fun race.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Because I would stop if the line was short. I'm also not like, I wasn't really big on waiting, stopping, standing around for a while and then getting back into running. Like if it was going to be a quick, picture and out, I would stop for it. And then in Magic Kingdom, you would run through Cinderella's castle. And of course, they had photographers everywhere. So you would get pictures of running out of the castle. Mm-hmm. And then the after party was always like great. They would have characters and music and entertainment and things there. So those were always... there's always a lot of good entertainment throughout that entire race. And the course was flat, and there was a lot of really cool shit to see. Yeah. Disneyland, because the parks are much smaller, you actually run through all of the parks because they're like sort of all connected in some way or another. You also run through the Los Angeles Angels baseball stadium.
Oh, neat. Yeah, that'd be cool.
The year that I did that was the year that Albert Pujols was going to the Angels, the first year.
Oh, really?
So like he was plastered everywhere, like welcome Albert. He was like the star of their team. So of course there was a little bit of anger that
Some
consumed
butthurt,
me.
like, how
when
dare
he
you.
was ours. But that one was really cool because those parks were smaller. We got to, again, go through all the Disney parks, go through the stadium, and then there was like one stretch, maybe like a half mile, where anybody who had a Corvette, like old,
could line
new,
up.
just a whole stretch, and it was lined up before, is it the Mighty Ducks? Whatever hockey.
You're asking the wrong person.
Okay, yeah, whatever hockey team. The Duck, maybe I don't know. Whatever. Sorry, California. Whoever, Anaheim. Yeah, Anaheim Ducks. That's who it was. So like leading up to, we didn't go in or around that stadium, but like leading up to, I guess like the little walkway getting up to that stadium was where they had like all the Corvettes, and then the owners, of course, were there and like were cheering for you the whole time. So and they had characters out too. So the experience of the Disney races were probably my favorite, and I did those all by myself except for one.
So would you say you're like a Disney adult? Like, do you?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure, not high med at all. yeah.
So I was trying to figure out,
sure.
like, are they the coolest and favorite because you are a Disney adult, or just because like Disney makes it pretty darn cool?
For me, both.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how many total half marathons?
39.
39.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was trying to tally how many that I have done, and I know for one of my New Year's resolutions one year was to do a half marathon every month.
Okay.
Official or unofficial, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I really enjoyed that challenge, so I ended up doing it 2 years. So I did it 2 years in a row of where I did a half marathon every month. So I know for 2 years I did 36 total.
Okay.
Because, was that 24? That's
24. Yeah. If you only did one per.
One per,
Yeah.
right. And then I had done more just like with different races like throughout. So I can't remember what my total half marathon number is, but it's got to be 30s, 40s.
Okay.
And then I have one full marathon under my belt, and it was when my sister and I did the New York City Marathon, which was super cool. And if you're only going to do one marathon, I would highly, highly recommend and suggest that you do the New York City Marathon. Like, yes, it is cool and it's still really awesome to do just a random marathon, but if you're going to do a marathon, which
It's like one of the cream of the crop, right under Boston.
New York, I think I would prefer over Boston, because
Really?
Boston is kind of very like elitist
Oh, that's true.
and so kind of snooty.
Yeah.
But New York, it's just so welcoming, and it's like hyped for the entire time. Like, it was almost like stimulation overload.
Yes. I bet.
Because just all the cheering and the music, everything like that was just nonstop. Like, good luck trying to wear headphones, because you're not going to be able to hear shit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it made that experience like so much better, and I would say like easier, and I would say like more worth it than just running like a Missouri Cowbell Marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no shade or anything against people that do that, but if you're only going to do one, like, make it big.
Yes.
And
I
then
agree.
if you're gonna do New York Marathon, then I would also suggest like running for like a charity, because that's what Rachel and I did. Was we ran for Team Reeve, and so not only did we like do this like really cool feat, but we also raised like close to $9,000 for
Damn.
the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. So you're doing both. You're doing like a great challenge, and then you're learning your lessons and becoming a better person, but then also like you're helping other people out.
Right.
And then also help during training. When training got hard, it's like, okay, you're not just running for yourself, you're running for
Purpose.
a purpose for these people that can't run.
Right.
And then it would like, I mean, I would be grateful all the time that like going out for a run that I can actually run, because there's people that can't.
Yeah. Now, were there other people that you met up with that were also running on behalf of Team Reeve that you like not necessarily ran together but met up with at all?
Oh yeah, so
Okay.
like we all stayed in the same hotel. We had like you get there early, you do a luncheon the day before. Like, it's a whole really cool, neat experience.
Oh.
And then you do like
That's
these
awesome.
team calls during your training.
Okay.
So you're with a team.
Okay.
Even if you don't run together.
Right.
There's that teamwork and camaraderie all
Yeah.
throughout. And then a whole lot of cool things with running for a charity or foundation. Mine was the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. That's my plug, my recommendation to
Yeah.
do. But so between all of that, I would say Emily and I have had quite a bit of running experience. And I don't know, do you call yourself a runner?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, and yeah. Even though I don't run as much now as what I used to. Yes, for sure. I have a whole wall of medals to prove that.
Yeah. I would say that, like, you know, I think once a runner, like always a runner,
Right.
and you don't have to be an elitist or fast or anything like that
And
to
I am
be
not,
considered
by the
a
way.
runner. Yeah, I'm not
very
an elitist.
average.
Yeah. Like, you know, I do decent in the races, but I'm nowhere near close to like top of the top. But it's, you know, it's a passion. I love it, and sometimes it doesn't matter if I place. Sometimes I care, and
Yeah.
but I would consider myself a runner.
I definitely had my times where it was like, I'm going to try to PR for this race, or I want to be under this time, whether that was a PR for me or not. But majority, especially the travel ones, it was really just like, we're here
Just
to get
for
this
fun.
state. We know we're going to finish it at that point. Like, we were running them so often that our races were our training. Like, there wasn't really much to do in between because we
Yeah.
were running them so frequently that maybe we'd run like 3 to 5 miles a couple days a week during the week. And then the weekends were the races.
Yeah, there's never been a single race that I've done by myself where I've been able to do it for fun. Like, I cannot help myself but go balls to the wall
Yeah.
in a race if I'm running by myself. If
I
I'm
can see that.
If I'm
Yeah.
running with other people and we say we're going to run together, then I will stay with those people. But any time that it's been just me, oh, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going for like first place or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never not been able to just run a race for fun. Otherwise, I'm not signing up for the race. That's that's just what it is. But yeah, so do you want to get into some of the lessons or commandments of running, or because there's
Yeah.
not really any rules?
Let's do some lessons.
Yeah, okay. I think the first rule of running is never trust a fart. Like, that's got to be first and foremost, is
Yes.
never trust a fart. If you've been able to trust farts in the past and you know, are like, oh, I'm fine, one of them is going to betray you one day. So I would say never trust a fart.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
Like, can you really call yourself a runner if you've not shat yourself on a run? I don't know if you... I think you have to wait till you do that to call yourself a true runner.
Yeah, there are some. I'll share the story that I shared with you last week.
Oh, yes.
So in line with the never trust a fart. So I grew up in a small town in Illinois, and the town was like, when we would go out to do our long runs, there was only so many subdivisions and so many like paths that we could take through town. We wanted to mix it up, so we would go on the back country roads for our longer runs on the weekends. And there was nothing out there, you know, a couple of houses every couple of miles, maybe a bar here and there. But the time that we went out to run, nothing was open. So we went out one day for, I don't know, like a 12 or 14 mile run or something like that. There was 5 of us total. I had my water pouch with me, but nothing else. So one of my lessons was be prepared, and it's going to rope into this. A couple of the girls had like Kleenexes and paper towels and things like that with them, knowing that we are going to be, you know, in the middle of the country, middle of nowhere for a couple of hours. I felt a little rumble in my stomach, and I'm like,
Nature called.
Nature is calling me right now. There is no like, let's wait till we get to the car. Even if I would have been able to, we were still like 15, 20 minutes from where I could like get to the bathroom. So like nothing, there was no other option for me. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to go behind that tree over there. There's no other option. So the woman, my dear friend Jean, who had the Kleenexes with her, was too far ahead. I was like, we can't even call them and have them run back to, it was
The time
like,
is
it was
now.
no time. So fortunately it was like fall-ish, early winter, and I had on a tank top and then a long sleeve shirt
I thought you
over
were going to
that.
say, because there's leaves on the ground.
So I had no choice but to take off the tank top underneath to wipe, because I mean, I had to do something. It was my favorite tank top that now belongs to the wilderness.
that trail has claimed.
It just, yeah. So it happened. And, we got back. Of course, we met up with the rest of the girls and we told them what happened. They're like, why didn't you call? Why didn't you? And I'm like, there was no time for any of that. There literally was no time. So yes. And so that would also bring my lesson of being prepared, especially if you're going to be, I'm not typically a trail runner. So we were on pavement for these races, but if you were going to be a trail runner or out in the middle of nowhere, be prepared for anything that might happen while you are out there. The elements outside, things that are going to happen to your body, be prepared. Make sure you have everything you need.
Yeah, because you start intaking a lot of those the gels or whatever, like your stomach's going to make some movement.
Yes, it is. And it's unpredictable too.
Yeah.
Of when that's going to happen.
One run could be fine, and then next run, is not. It just really depends on a whole lot of stuff.
Yes.
So did you not consider just not wiping? Was that not an
option?
option?
It wasn't an option. It wasn't no, I didn't consider that.
Times weren't that desperate. It was only the favorite tank top.
And it required cleanup was required. I wasn't gonna just pull my pants up and go back to the car and then ride in the car back home. No.
See, because I'm thinking because I've never pulled over to do number 2. I've pulled over a bunch to pee, and that's just go.
Yeah. The one and only time I've ever had to pop a shit though. One and only time in my life.
Yeah, I've not had to, but I have trusted a fart incorrectly, and I was a mile from my car.
Oh shit! Literally.
Yes. And yeah, it was pretty bad. A mile is really, really long, and it's not this was a pretty popular trail, so it's not I can do anything else about it.
Right.
It was just literally haul ass and then some.
Yeah.
Till you get to your car. And luckily I had a towel in my car that I could put underneath me and then drive to a bathroom.
Right. How far were you from home?
Oh, 40 minutes. I went to a trail. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a very uncomfortable ride home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did clean myself out at in the bathroom, but there's still just that shame that sits with you until you shower.
Yeah.
But I would say I have shat myself less times during running than not, which is not a proud thing.
Did you on that day? Did you get the miles that you were going for? Did you complete your run?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kind of short. Okay.
No, I mean I was a mile from the car. I had no option but to finish.
It. Okay.
Yeah. I had finished pretty much the whole run, and I was that close.
Okay.
So yeah, it could have been worse.
It could have been.
Would I have finished the run? Well, I don't know. If it had started on the way, would I have just turned around and gone back? Probably, yeah.
That probably would have been a smart move.
Yeah. But yeah, just one and done. And then, all right. So then, do you want to bounce back and forth between?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit more to.
Going in prepared.
To my be prepared one. So I had, obviously for the elements, I know we talked about getting good shoes and making sure you have proper gear. I have thick thighs, so I use Body Glide.
Okay.
In the summer, when I would wear short, and I didn't wear super short shorts. I wore the longer bike shorts, but they would still ride up because my thighs are thick. And I would roll. It comes in a deodorant type of container that you just roll on your thighs, and that was a lifesaver. I also had to use that on my feet too,
really,
to avoid blisters and for my bunions.
Thick thighs save lives.
Yes. Yeah.
And yours were hungry.
Yeah. So all of that, and then also having, I would use KT tape if I was having any sort of injuries or tweaks. And then anytime that I ran, I never had major knee injuries at all, but anytime that I would run double digits or more miles, I would tape both of my knees just for good measure.
Really?
Just, because I would have they would tweak just enough and hurt just enough after, and I would be on the couch icing them after my run for hours. So I just decided that when I was going to do double digits or more, just to tape them.
Yeah, and with the KD tape, I would like look to see like how to put it on properly, because you can put it on
Yes,
wrong. I wouldn't
you
just
can.
put it on to put it on. You can actually cause more harm than good.
Yes.
With just willy-nilly slapping
Yes.
them on there. And then I have found that Vaseline for me works better than
Ooh,
Body Glide,
okay.
and it's way cheaper.
Yes.
And it stays longer. I found like with the Body Glide, I would have to reapply
You're right.
after so many miles.
Yeah.
But like Vaseline was like a one and done.
It's thicker.
Thick.
Yeah.
and it just stays.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, definitely way cheaper
Yeah.
than the Body Glide, and easier to apply.
Right. Okay. I like that.
All right, my next one is get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Like, I think, like, not all runs are going to be great. Not all workouts are going to be great. Those, I think, you just take in stride. But instead of, like, just quitting, like, oh, like, this is a really shitty run, instead of quitting, like, just get comfortable with uncomfortable.
Yep.
Like, saddle up, Sally. Like, we're in it for the long run. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, I mean, I think mentally also, before going into long runs, I would just accept, like, not that it's going to be shitty, because I'm not going to, like, manifest that and then, like, go in with that and then make it shitty. But I would just go in with, like, all right, this is going to be a long one. Like, just, like I said, saddle up.
Yep.
And then just accept that, like, it's going to be a while. And yeah, some are going to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And then you just have to get comfortable with that, which I think you can apply to a lot of things in life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just get-
Well, and again, that's where the good stuff comes. When you push beyond your
Past.
comfort level.
Yes, just
Yes.
keep going.
Yes.
There's a lot of great things on that other side.
Yeah, absolutely. I will piggyback off of that for folks that do have an issue with like quitting on themselves or what have you, to find yourself an accountability buddy or a group. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like force that person to run with you. But if you have somebody that's going to help you stay motivated, to say like, all right, Maria, I'm going out tomorrow to run 5 miles. All right, Emily, what time are you planning on going out? So like I have told you what I'm going to do. So I've spoke that out into the universe.
It's put out there.
It is out there.
Yes.
And then to have somebody that can check in, maybe in the afternoon, and be like, oh, hey, how did that
was
run
the
go?
run?
And then if you don't complete your task at hand for whatever reason, you got to tell that person, I didn't do it because of XYZ. And sometimes that reason is going to be flat out because I was lazy and didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
And then if you have that accountability buddy to help with that motivation, or maybe to ride their bike next to you while you're running or what have you, if running is not their thing, to help you stay on track and stay motivated. To
Yeah.
keep your word to yourself too.
Yeah. I would say typically I'm like a lone wolf. Like, I love running by myself because that's my me time. I've never gotten into like the running groups. I've wanted to, but they all start too goddamn early. Like, can someone out there make like a lunch running group? Like, I'll go running at lunchtime or like a late morning,
Yeah.
but like 4 or 5 a.m. Like, no, can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I could do it. I don't want to do it. That's
Yeah.
the thing. But running like for the New York City Marathon, I don't think I could do a marathon by myself. I think I could. I think it would suck a whole lot and I would not enjoy it.
I
Running
did mine
with,
by myself.
it was, oh no. Like, it was a mental battle.
Yeah.
And so having my sister run with me, I think that helped a lot. And then also like we would do some of our long run trainings together.
Okay.
And that would also help. We would hit our walls at different times, and then we still would have someone being able to like push you and bring you along. So I think having someone that's like there with you, like, you don't have to do everything by yourself. You can
Right.
get help from other people. It's
Yeah.
okay to get help.
I would be like remiss if I didn't bring this up talking about running. I had a fantastic group of women that I ran with when I lived in Illinois. I did start running by myself, and then I had like a coworker that I would run with. My sister and I would run together from time to time. But when I was living in Redbud, there was a group of we got up to probably 8, maybe 10 of us that were all half marathon runners. So I very rarely had to run any of my training runs by myself, even if like I was the only one out of the group that did the Chicago Marathon, for example. So obviously like they weren't training for a marathon, so there was no need for somebody to go out and just run 20 miles with me. But we would work it out to where like one person would be with me for like the first 3 miles.
X amount of miles,
and
yeah.
then so like that was so helpful for me because we had a meeting spot. It was a lot of like the same loops around my small town.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, we know that 3 miles is going to take approximately this much time to run. So next group, meet us at this time at the parking lot.
Yeah.
We knew the loops in town enough to know this is exactly a 3 mile loop. So we'll do this loop. We'll be back at the same time. And then every time I like picked up a new person to run with me, it was like a fresh run.
Right, because
So I
it's a
would-
different person, different conversations.
So I was
yeah.
literally running the same loops for 18 to 20 miles, but I always had somebody with me. Or somebody would like, if they didn't want to run that day, hop on their bicycle and run. Or I'm sorry, ride with me like while I was running.
Yeah.
So like that helped tremendously. And we always, anytime that we ran together, races, we always stayed together. Like we had that conversation before the race. If anybody wanted a PR, you know, they could
for
go on their own, what have you, like the rest of us. So if we had to stop for whatever reason for injury, we would all stop. Like in the heat of the moment, if somebody was like, hey, I can't, like, I got to keep going. Like something's hurting me. If I stop, this is going to, you know, it's going to derail me. Then obviously they would keep going. But like that was like my core. And I got through a lot with them. There was a lot of stuff going on in my life during all of that time too. And running and those women got me through all of it.
Yeah,
It was great.
I think finding a group, and this is, like I said, I'm trying to apply these also to like life. I think finding a group that will challenge you is key.
Absolutely.
They'll hold you accountable, stay with you, but also challenge you.
Yes.
I've seen a couple articles here and there about how like a friend group can be toxic if no one is challenging you, or like everyone does the same things all the time, or if all you do with that group is just like drink and hang out, not going anywhere, not progressing, like, but then you feel obligated to stay in that group because, oh, we've been friends for so long,
Right.
or like, what else would I do? Like, and then it's actually bringing you down. So I think finding a group where everyone has drive, ambition, goals, and they're striving to be better and challenge you is crucial for working out, running, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And same along those same lines, like women that have like the same morals and values too.
But I'm also I like having people in my group that challenge my views. I like being able to have a conversation with someone that is of different opinion. It's like, why do you think differently?
Right.
You know, and then
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes it changes my perspective. Like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Right.
So I like having a mix of people around me with different views that are obviously respectable, and like we can have like a conversation about it, and you're not like just forcing it down my throat or
Right.
like demeaning me because I think a certain way.
Yeah.
It's just actually having like a stimulating conversation.
And agree to disagree if that's
Yeah.
where the conversation
Yeah.
needs to land. Yeah, I agree. That is super important. And that, like with the recent election, I found myself in lots of those conversations, which I will not even start to go down that path in this conversation. But speaking about, being with people that challenge you and, that respect you and things like that, having those tough conversations with, like, my very best friend and I have different political views, but she's still my best friend and I love her and she loves me, and we can agree to disagree. And we know, okay, if a conversation is getting to a certain point, it's time to wrap the conversation. Like we're not going to go any further than this right now. And that's huge.
Right. Being able to have that with no hard feelings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which also, when you were talking about yours and running like the same loop, like one of my like lessons is like keep it spicy, whether that is like changing up the scenery, or instead of just doing like the same pace run, like doing like sprints or hill intervals, or trying like other workouts, or taking time off.
Yes.
Having different seasons in your life. Like, it's very easy to just get complacent, whether running or life. And so I think like keeping it spicy, like mix it up. Like, change is good.
It is good.
And it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then you get comfortable with it.
Right.
And then you change it again.
Right.
And then you just keep going.
Yes.
Like, you live one life. like, why do you not want to experience, like, all that you
All the
possibly
things,
can? Yeah.
right.
I mean, but that's just me. Keep
Yeah.
it spicy.
I like that. I have listened to your body. And obviously, like, pertaining specifically to running with that, you know, like
Yeah.
that, and then also not feeding into your ego too, I think sort of goes into that too, because if you do feel like there was something off with your body and you're feeling a little achy, but you go out and try to run anyways, because like you can push through it and then you hurt yourself more, you know, because you're just trying to feed into that ego of I can do this and nobody's going to stop me kind of thing. And you end up hurting yourself and putting yourself moving backwards as opposed to moving forward. So listening to your body, making good choices.
Yeah, I think know thy limits, right?
Well
So
said.
like
yeah,
know when to push it, but also know when to like scale back.
Right.
I think is very important. And then yeah, to your point, like listening to your body. Like there's a difference between like I am legit injured and this is only going to injure it more, and you're stupid about it, versus like, oh, I kind of really don't feel like doing it today, and being kind of like a potato and being lazy.
right.
But then you go and do it anyways. I think it's important for if you're feeling that to go and do it anyways. Because in life, you're not going to always be able to do what you want when you want.
Right.
Like you're going to have to do stuff at times when you don't want to.
Right. Yeah.
Which like brings me to my, like one of my biggest pet peeves is flakiness. Like I hate when like make plans with someone or talk about doing something and then get closer to the time, I'm going to bail. Or I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That drives me off the wall. Up and off the wall. Like I hate it so much. Like why can you just not like commit?
Right.
I understand things come up every once in a while, but like I feel like a lot of people bail a lot of times now. Like it's become too easy for people to just bail. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it drives me nuts. Like, have you no like sense of accountability? Like for me, I find it very disrespectful to me.
Right.
It's like insulting to me.
It is. Yeah.
And quit being flaky, people.
Right.
All right, my next one, I guess we'll say like with the body stuff, is eating with a purpose.
Okay.
So like prior to, like I've always had, I won't say always, I struggled with eating in high school and college. Started in 5th grade when I was watching a James Bond film, and I'm like just going to town with my Reese's Pieces, and Halle Berry comes out of the water in that orange bikini.
Okay.
And just like, goddamn, like the whole theater was just, everyone that watched that was just admiring Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Halle Berry could get anyone that she wanted with that scene. Me in 5th grade was like, I want that.
Yeah.
While I have this piece of like Reese's Pieces like in my mouth, I was like, well shit, I can't get that with Reese's Pieces. So I remember like my whole thing started in 5th grade. Fast forward to like, you know, college where I kind of ish figured out. I mean, I still didn't, but I never had like a really great relationship with food
Okay.
until I would say like the New York City Marathon, or like in the marathon.
Interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
the years leading up to that, I had gotten like healthier with it, but I would still like have my binge moments, or like I thought I was eating healthy, but it's not really healthy. And then my sister and I were running for the New York City Marathon. I mean, and it's a lot of training. It's really hard on the
It
body.
is.
And if you're not eating correctly, like it's going to suck even more. So we got this cookbook, and it was a cookbook made by a runner for runners. And it was talking about what you should eat before a run, after a run, for recovery, or like anything that you would need. It had recipes for. And that was the first time that I had eaten with the purpose to train. And it made a difference. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like all this time. And like eating with a purpose, like the purpose can also be for pleasure.
Right.
So like, you know,
Right.
with anything, it's like balance. Like, oh, this meal, this is just like for pleasure. But like every meal that I go into, like I'm conscious of like, all right, is this for my next workout? Like, do I need protein? And like, I mean, for me, it has made my relationship with food like all the better. Like I never have like those huge cravings that like I need to binge, or I feel like I'm missing out if I'm not having like sugar. And the healthier you eat, the better that you feel.
Yes.
And that's what people don't get until they actually do it. Like, it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
The healthier you eat, the better that you feel. And then that becomes contagious, and then it does become easier to eat healthier. And then when you do eat something shitty, you feel so shitty.
Yeah, you do.
Like, to the point where it's not even worth it.
Right.
So then it does make it easier to cut out, like, that sugar or the alcohol or anything like that.
I have gotten into like counting my macros, not like super strict, but strict enough that, to your point, cutting out some of the like, oh, well, I can just have like this cookie or a little piece of cake or something like that, whatever, because it's just a little and I'm going to work out tomorrow or, you know, whatever it is, but not doing that, because now I've been so aware of what I'm actually putting into my, like, more aware, I should say, of what I'm putting into my body. To your point, I don't have like, I don't even want that stuff anymore.
Right.
Like chips or anything sweet or savory, like I just don't. I'm just like, okay, I could literally eat the same thing every day because I know it's going to fuel my body and it's going to give me what I need to perform at its best. So like, I don't need any of that other stuff, and I don't crave it.
No, see, like, I mean, I like variety, and I don't count. For me, like, you know, I'm a big fan of like the 80-20 rule, 80% healthy, 20%, and that's like for like every day. Like, I have dessert every day because I just have a sweet tooth. But I think, you know, the more educated you become on what you're putting into your body, whether it's like the sugar from crumble cookie, like that wreaks havoc on your inflammation or your hormones, or like all like the seed oils are all like really bad for you and all this stuff. I think just like knowing what you're eating and then like why you're eating will make a big difference. And I think it makes it easier than like trying to count calories, trying to count macros. Like, you know, just keep it simple, stupid. Like, get your protein, get your carbs, and get your fat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we could do like a whole episode on it, but like for me, like, okay, if I ate with a purpose, then it became easier to like cook healthier stuff for myself.
Yeah. I would say another one of mine too, sort of piggybacking off of that too, is sort of in line with like the eating with a purpose, at fueling, not just like water, or not just like hydrating, but fueling with things like we talked about, like the chomps or the goos or the gels or what have you that you have for before a race, and practicing that during your training as opposed to trying to do that
Race day.
on race day. And obviously I think that, you know, applies to life in general too. You know, don't wait until like the big day of a big project or a deadline that you have to try something new for the first time. Like, prepare yourself, try things, do a little trial and error, see what works, what doesn't work, and make sure that you are setting yourself up for success when it is go time. I think that helps with mental preparation as well too, because if you know, hey, I've done this 3 or 4 or 5 different times and I know this is going to work, or I know that I've had success with this, you go into that with more confidence, into that presentation, into that race, into, you know, whatever it is that you're going into with that success, that, you know, you can make it happen.
Right. Success favors the prepared.
It does. You did say that on one of your podcasts.
My life motto.
That.
Yeah. It's like I live by it, like probably like every day. I think about it at least like, you know, once a month. Success favors the prepared.
Yes.
But again, like with that, also balance, because like also like spontaneity, and then just like
I'm not good at that.
fly by the seat of your pants. Like, you know, I think you have to have both. Like, I think just like throw the book out the window and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Not with everything, but with something. It's like, give it a try. Why not?
That's what I have my husband for. He's the spontaneous one. I'm the planner.
Keep it spicy, you know?
Yes.
Because why not?
Oh.
All right. Let's see here. I mean, my next two kind of go hand in hand, but one is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Which is like, I think there's like a famous Navy SEAL that is very famous for saying it. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Okay.
I have found that with everything, whether it's running, swimming, or like with work. You know, instead of like, the more I rush and try and like get something done quick, then like the more like shit happens. If you start out with a race like too quick, then you like burn off all your energy immediately, and then you're like tanked for the rest of the run.
Yep.
Versus if you start slow, you can speed up, and then you can make up that time later. If you start too quick, then you eat up all your reserves, and then you're shit out of luck for the rest of the race. But like I've noticed, like with work or like getting ready in the morning, the more I'm rushing, then the more time it actually takes me, because like I knock my toothbrush over, or like I do this or that. But if I'm slow, meticulous, then that becomes smooth, and then that smooth becomes like fast. So slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
I like that. Yeah, that was always a hard one too, was starting too fast in a race, just because of like you have the adrenaline from everybody starting. That's why I appreciate the corral starts, because that was like when I first started running, that was not a thing. Everybody just like, it was go time. You just lined up.
Yeah.
They still had pacers and things, but like once the buzzer went off, everybody just started going. And it's hard to stay at the pace you need to be comfortable and to be able to get through the race when everybody's like starting off, because there's people there and the crowd and everybody's like super excited. Your adrenaline's pumping. So slow and steady is what we always just say. Slow and steady wins a race.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get there. You can get there mentally. You've done it a million times, and as long as if you are prepared, you're following all the steps that made you successful getting to where you are, you're going to be fine. You just got to trust yourself.
Yeah. The one Frostbite series. So Frostbite series is like a series of like 5 races, and they're all different lengths. And then you place based on how you did with all 5 of those. You get certain points for how you place. Every year that I had done that, like I had just, straight out of the gate would just gung ho go. And then there was one year where it was right after the marathon. And so there wasn't a whole lot of recovery time in between, but I still signed up for the series, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna run these just to get back into running after a marathon. So I didn't care what my time was. I got first in that series because I didn't like care when I started what I was gonna do. So I started off slower. And then I ended up having like way more energy like in the middle. Like it was a whole different strategy that I went into. And then I was able to finish the races, because these are like 7 miles, 13 miles. They're not like the long series. That's long. And then I would be able to finish really hard and really fast, and then pass up some of the people that started really strong. So like it works. The strategy does work. It's just, it's so hard to remember that at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, you have to trust yourself too.
Trust yourself that you'll be able to make up that time.
Exactly. And that's a huge one too. Another lesson for running and life too is to trust yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're the only one you got. So you gotta.
Yeah. Sooner or later, at one point, everyone is gonna let you down. Everyone.
Yes.
At some point or another, in some way, shape, or form, everyone's going to let you down. It's going to happen. Can't be disappointed when it does. Just expect that it's going to happen.
Right.
Just take it with stride. But you have total control over yourself and
at all times.
What you trust and what your expectations are for yourself. Accountability, all of that.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I think that was all the lessons that I had.
I think I'll just do... I guess, I'll do 2 more just real quick. One is make it look easy.
Ooh, I like that.
So like for me, like, it's really easy to like get out of form when you're trying to go really fast. And this I can't take credit for. I saw it whenever like, it was on a reel, and I think it was like for Kipchoge's team. And it was like all of them on a treadmill, and the coach was yelling at them, make it look easy, make it look easy. So then when you try to make it look easy, you drop your shoulders, and then you focus on your breathing. You don't look erratic.
Right.
And then I think that goes in hand with the slow is smooth, smooth is fast. But making it look easy, I don't know, somehow like makes you run faster, better. I don't know what it is, but just having the thought, make it look easy.
That's also part of like the mental game of that too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you know, okay, well, I'm supposed to make this look easy. So once you think that, you start to feel that.
Yes.
And then it's like,
And then you
oh,
get confidence.
this is easy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you said it really well. And then you get what you put in. So if you're going to, that's what anything, you're going to skip all the time or you're going to make excuses, then don't be disappointed when you don't get what you thought you should have gotten.
Yeah.
And the same with running, like the more you put in, the more you're going to get
Right.
out. Did you ever have any like mottos or affirmations that you would tell yourself like during runs? Like if it was like a long run or during a race, anything that you would like, any like little sayings that you would say to yourself?
No, not really.
Really?
Not really, no.
So that blows my
Not that
mind.
not that I can think of, right? I'm sure the second I get in my car to drive home, I'll think of, 5 things, but
Like stuff that you like say to yourself?
it's been a while. And I guess for me, it's been a long time since I've run a race by myself too. So like there isn't as much self-talk, obviously, that happens because I'm doing like actual talk with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't think, except just like the very basic, like you got this, but nothing like more elaborate than that.
Yeah. Interesting.
What about you?
Oh, I have quite a bit, depending on like what it is. Like if I am trying to like remember like my form when I'm running for like the long runs, then I tell myself chin up, tits out. So like my chin is up, and then when you put
Okay.
your tits out, then you put
Yeah.
your shoulders back.
Yeah.
So that helps. If things are like really hard, then I tell myself to not be a little bitch and quit being a bitch. Just do it.
Yeah.
The make it look easy, I do tell myself, and that also helps with like the form. But then the one that like I tell myself like in races is let her rip. And I will say that like let her rip, like, I mean, which sounds corny, whatever, but like me just like saying that, then it like then my body's like, all right, go time.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's like your wind
that's
up.
the switch.
Yeah.
But this is towards the end of the race.
Okay.
And it's, I've got maybe like a mile left or half a mile, depending on how long the race is, and just like let her rip.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like a mental switch to like, all right, push.
Balls to the wall.
Balls to the wall, to the end, finish it.
Man. So you always leave some to sprint. Always leave some in the tank.
Always
to
leave some in the
sprint
tank,
at the
yeah.
end. I would always try my hardest. Not all races ended that way, but I would
Yeah.
always tried that.
Yeah. Leave some for the end and then leave nothing at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you can't cross the finish line with all those people and all those cameras.
And still have something
You
left.
right. You have to have a smile on your face. You have to look like you don't want to just keel over, like go end strong. End strong.
Yeah. But then also like, how disappointing would it be like if you finished like a race that you were trying to like race or PR and still have like energy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be like, shit, I could have gone harder. To
Right.
me, that is more disappointing than if I lost.
Right.
Because I didn't give it my all.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
Either full ass it or no ass. No half-assing.
Yeah.
Go all
Full
ass.
ass.
Go full ass. All right. So did you bring a weekly while
I
this?
did.
Perfect.
Yes,
All
yeah.
right.
So, we talked about like running being like a hobby and a passion of ours. So I would encourage the listeners to start that hobby up again, or if there's something that you've wanted to do that you haven't started yet or you haven't gotten into, maybe it's guitar lessons or maybe it's sewing or crocheting or something, to like take the first step this week towards that.
Nice. I love that. And I'll add on one thing to that is so like pick it back up, but then like the one time that you feel like quitting, don't. Just try it for one time. Like one day you're like, I don't want to do this.
Do it
or like
anyway.
if you don't feel like doing it, do it during that time that you don't feel like doing it.
Yes.
Because then those next times that you don't feel like doing it will become easier and easier to
Yes, it will.
do it. Yes.
Yes. And they will very quickly become your favorite times to go out. when
Yes,
you don't
yes.
want to do it.
Those are like the best runs,
Yes.
the best times when you're not really feeling it, and then you're just so happy afterwards
Right.
that you did.
The hardest step is the first one out the door.
It really is. Awesome. Well, thank you, Emily.
Yes. You're welcome. It's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, get out there and run.
Yeah.
All right, okay, bye.
Bye.